the Dallas On Air studios in beautiful Dallas, Texas. This is Next Issue of the Comics Podcast here on DallasOnAir.com. And now, here's your hosts, Clay Harrison, Kyle Condis, and Adrian Harris.
Hey, welcome to the Next Issue Podcast. We are a bi-weekly comic book podcast out of Dallas. We are part of the Dallas On Air Live family, and we are co-hosts on the Just a Sec podcast right after this. We are three friends who talk about our lifelong love of comic books, and this episode is going to be a reflection of 2017. And Adrian, can you not? I don't even have my headphones on yet. Sorry, I was going full Captain.
Hello. Test. I don't think our mic's on.
Hello.
Your mic is on now.
Is it? Okay, there it is.
There we go.
There it is.
Did you get my whole intro, or was it?
Yeah, I got it.
Totally shot. Okay.
No, you got it.
All right. Adrian.
What's up?
2017. Mm-hmm. Let's look back. We started the podcast this year, so
Yeah. That was fun.
that's a great start. First let's get into what everyone's been watching, reading, comic book related.
Should I have notes?
I know I left my notes at home, so I'm gonna have to wing it. And
I watched Happy.
how was that?
Happy
I
was
liked
good,
it.
man.
I liked it. It's dark.
Okay. It's not a great pilot. But it's good performances.
Okay, so
so
hold
it
on.
hooks you.
So the unicorn's like an imaginary friend, right?
Right.
It's not his imaginary.
No,
friend.
I know. So would you put this, like, the one show somebody was asking about that I enjoyed when it first started, but I think it got too out there for me, was Wilford, when it was on FX.
I never got into Wilford.
I never got into
No,
it.
Really?
I wouldn't put it in that category.
Okay.
I watched it, and I wouldn't put it in that category
all
at
right.
all.
This is Christopher Maloney in this?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I might be in for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Chris Maloney's great.
And I haven't read the graphic novel it's based on. Have y'all?
No, I didn't even know about it until I saw the trailers for the TV series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a Grant Morrison piece.
Yeah, it's strange because not a lot of Grant Morrison translates well to the screen. So I'm curious what they're going to be doing. And I think he's part of the team that's
He
actually
is
translating it.
He was on Fat Man on Batman
Okay.
this last week with Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin, and talked about it. And he was really excited for it. He said that he actually brought up that a lot of his stuff doesn't translate, but they made some changes to it that
Yeah.
makes it. He said it's dark and then it's emotional, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, it makes me kind of want to track down the graphic novel.
Yeah, definitely want to do that this year.
Yeah.
The thing that makes the show work is really the chemistry between Maloney and Patton Oswalt.
Yeah.
Because Patton knocks it out of the park with some over-the-top enthusiasm, and Maloney's just the perfect burnout cop.
Yeah, I felt for a pilot it was a little too much, because for a long time you're seeing the perspective of Patton's character and they're not explaining him, and you're like trying to figure out. It just kind of goes from scene to scene and doesn't have a flow to it. So for a pilot, it was really tough to watch, except for the fact that I knew the background of the story. So that was the one thing that helped, knowing that it was an imaginary character, what we were going to, how we were going to get there was what I was going to see, and I kind of wasn't into it except for Maloney and Oswald. So that's hooked me. I'm gonna stay with it. Kyle, anything?
TV wise, other than the nothing new and special I've been watching, except for that we had the crossover with the CW shows.
That was good.
The crossover on CW was fantastic. It may have been the best crossover. It was better than Invasion for sure.
Definitely better than
I still have some nitpicks.
Okay.
One is I still didn't feel like even though we had Supergirl and her sister in there, I still don't feel like it was a full Supergirl crossover. Because
Really?
we got so many of the other characters on all the other shows, and all we got was her. I mean, we got 5 minutes of all the Supergirl cast at the beginning, and they were gone. And then it's just her and her sister going to the wedding, and the rest of it's almost all flash based throughout the rest of the episode. I would have liked it like John, if Martian Manhunter had been there, or somebody else. I think because with Team Flash, you had Barry, Iris, Cisco, and Caitlin. With Arrow, you had Oliver and Felicity, and then you had the rest of the team outside of Diggle. With the Legends, you had everybody. I mean, granted, the majority of them weren't in there until the last episode, but that you still saw them all. So, but with Supergirl, it's just her and her sister. It's like I feel like they were still the short end of the stick.
Well, her sister had an arc.
Yeah, and I love that.
I love that arc. Just going through the loss and how she's dealing with it, and basically using a hookup to kind of like, okay, you're my rebound.
Ain't
moving
nothing wrong
along.
with that.
Another issue I had is Oliver is the Fuhrer of Earth X. Really, you couldn't have somebody better, and have Oliver be one of his generals or something. He's the Fuhrer of Earth X.
Well,
I also was like,
he is the pretty much the tent pole of CW shows.
I know, but it just I would have liked it if there was like if Quentin or if Diggle or even somebody that we didn't or I don't know, one of the big bads, like you brought Malcolm in to be like the Fuhrer.
I like your idea of Diggle, since he pretty much wasn't in it until the end. That would have been a good one, because I like seeing that kind of conflict, especially now with Black Siren.
And then the other thing is like Crisis on Earth X, when a majority of the Crisis on Earth 1.
Right.
I mean, why didn't just call it? And this is where I get it from other movies. Why not just call it Crisis from Earth X?
My problem, if I were to list anything, it's the look. All the masks look like they were from Ultimates 3. If you've read Ultimates 3, it's got Hawkeye has this mask that looks like the mask that Winter Soldier uses in the movies,
Right.
and that's what everyone looked like on Earth X, which I don't know why you needed a mask, but I mean, other than to have your stunt double do all the other work.
That's exactly why they had it.
As you're on the other side.
I did watch the Ray cartoon on CW Seed.
How's that?
It's not bad. I mean, if you guys have ever seen the Vixen cartoon,
I did.
Yeah,
Vixen,
and it's
I like
actually
the
not bad. But it's definitely a prequel.
Yeah.
Because you learn how. He says in the crossover, and that's the other one to say. It's the guy who played the Ray in the live action. I thought did a really good job.
Yes.
But I've seen the last time I saw him was in Being Human on the BBC.
Yes.
Really good in that.
Yeah,
really good.
But I love this one. It's like you realize it's. I guess it's the typical CW thing. Because when he takes his shirt off, you're like, "Holy crap, this guy's built."
Yeah.
But I think he did a really good job. And I was reading an interview with him, and they're saying there was apparently a lot of people who watched the animated series didn't know it was him doing the voice of the Ray. They thought they brought somebody else in. He goes, that actually makes me feel really good because my American accent is, don't realize it's me talking. So
Right.
yeah, but it's definitely a prequel because he's supposed to come from Earth 1. There was a Ray on Earth X, and so it's just the only thing I have bad to say is they stop it at 6 episodes. And that's why I wish, and they're only like 8 minutes a piece, and I wish they'd go a little bit farther because there's like this cliffhanger ending at the episode 6, and it's just like, damn it. But they gave you kind of a closure ending on Vixen season 1, but this one is just season 1 of Ray, and then it's just kind of like, what the hell just happened?
I hate that they're so short.
I know.
That's the one thing I kind of wait for them to finish and then watch them all at once.
I look at the animation, it's like, why aren't you guys doing even if it's only 6 episodes, doing like a half hour per episode? You guys could do a full season, this animation style on these heroes, and I think people would watch it in a heartbeat.
I'm sure it's budget reasons.
Maybe.
That sucks. I'd love to see more of the animated stuff because they use the original
Yeah.
voices. You can kind of do some things that you're limited to in the real world. You could do like, Gorilla City.
Yeah.
Kyle losing his mind. I'd love to see more Grodd. I'd love to see, I loved seeing him in Legends this season. And that for me, that's the one I wanted to get to because the end of Crisis on Earth X, we see
Okay, that was the other issue I had. You ended on something like that.
Well, I think if you look at how comics do events, this is how they do them. You kill someone gets a new show. You get the Ray, who's getting an animated show we get to see, but you lose someone. You'll see him. We're going to see Marty. Obviously, he's part of the time anomalies, and we're going to see probably Youngstein a lot more than we're going to see Gray, or if we ever see Gray again.
That I have no problem with. The killing off Stein and the split up. Okay, and I think you mentioned this, the whole Firestorm situation.
Okay, yeah.
They got to bring him back. You can't just introduce a character for like 4 years and not have him Jax is done. He might be back in the series, but no more Firestorm. Like, no, you got to find some way to re-emerge that that Firestorm matrix with somebody else or something.
I wanted Jax to stay.
I think he will be.
No, he left. I mean,
No. I mean, he's not written off the series. He's not like they haven't. There's been no stories about him actually leaving the series. It's just I think they're like Wally. Wally's still a normal character on Flash, but he's kind of doing his thing. I think they're just kind of
talking about him coming on board and replacing
Really?
Firestorm. That's the rumors I hear.
Oh, I missed that part. Okay.
Yeah, that's just rumor talk, though.
Okay.
And I think it's more of the fan base screaming, like, hey, we'd like to see him over here. I'd like to see new characters. I'd like to see a new character brought in and just...
I like Zari. I think
she's great.
I mean, somebody who kind of grew up watching ISIS, so it's kind of nice to see them giving homage to that.
And obviously, opening the show with Captain Cold, I love Wentworth Miller. I love Dominic Purcell. I want to see them team up, and I'm kind of curious because we've seen this evolution of Captain Cold, of Heatwave. They're my two favorite characters. I was a huge Prison Break fan, so I love seeing them team up again, and I love Leo Snart. I love the new Earth X Captain Cold.
Oh, no, and that's where I'm a little sad because he tweeted about a month ago, said to just film my last scenes for the whole CW universe stuff.
Oh no!
That was he put a message out to his fans saying I filmed my last thing and the whole thing, so he's only in it for a couple episodes.
Oh, what a bummer!
I know. See, when you talk about your favorite characters, the one I really enjoy is Ray. But somebody put something in my head not too long ago, and I'm like, I love the fact that they have the Atom. But if you look at Brandon Routh's character, and I'm gonna say this, he's not the Ray, he's Blue Beetle. If he had been Blue Beetle from the start of that, I think you would have don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on the Ray, but he's got that, that kind of persona, that kind of slapstick, kind of like, oh my God, ADD kind of thing that Ted Kord had in the comic books. And
You're right.
He almost would, I think if they had done the Blue Beetle instead of the Ray, I think they would have knocked it out of the park.
I have a question.
Okay.
Before we went on air, you had an emotional breakdown when Firestorm died.
I've talked to a lot of people that said they cried. during that
I
scene.
got choked up.
Yeah. We're talking about you. Was it more like Matthew McConaughey and Interstellar?
Never saw it.
Oh, you never seen the meme of him watching a video?
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and he's just crying.
I don't know.
Or was it more like sad Batfleck?
Neither.
You never seen that meme either?
I saw the meme. I saw the meme, but I don't really have any connection to those two. I think, like I said, that was just a heart wrenching because it wasn't him just being, I'm sad and emo. It was like basically him giving up, trying to save Jax, and it was just like the most heart wrenching moment where he's like saying, "I'm making a human sacrifice." And that's what I'm saying.
I watched it.
Yeah, and see, for me, it's like,
And you didn't cry? Are you human?
I am human. I got a little choked up. I'm just saying.
yeah, I mean, like for me, I look at it like, I was a step parent, and when you go through divorce, you aren't a step parent after that. You're just some guy that kid knows, and so. And Firestorm was one of those characters I saw on Super Friends, and I was like, "Oh, who's this character?" And then I got and I started reading, and I would go buy the comics. I was like, "Oh, they just really kind of introduced him to sell toys."
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, but I also like not Ronnie. I like Jax. I didn't have any connection to Ronnie when they brought him.
Oh yeah, Ronnie was not a great character in the comics. No. Jax is way better and more fun.
But he was never Firestorm in the comics.
What?
Jackson?
Jax was a friend of Ronnie's in high school. He was never actually. It was Jason who became.
Oh, Jason becomes Firestorm.
Yeah, Jax was just a side character. Like Felicity was Firestorm's stepmom in the comic books, and that's how they added her as a cast member of Arrow.
No.
So yeah, Jax was never Firestorm in the comic book, and that's why I like him so much now because it's like I feel like he is the version of Firestorm that we need.
Yeah.
The only complaint I had with Firestorm over the last 3 years is they only did it a few times. Is he's more than a guy who shoots fireballs.
Right. They started to figure it out, but they never pushed it.
I know,
way.
and that's why I was pissed about. I was like, you're doing the trans, especially in Invasion last year when he turns that bomb into the water.
Yeah,
I'm like, holy crap! Okay, and nothing again.
Just to tell you how good the CW shows are, that's what we've talked about in No Comic Book Talk at all.
Right. They are. But if you want to bring it back to comic book talk, I read Infinity by Jonathan Hickman.
Okay.
I was excited to read it because it's Thanos, and I heard that they're pulling a lot of elements from that for Avengers Infinity War.
But you also hear they're canceling Guardians of the Galaxy comic book after 150.
Yeah, and I am super bummed. This is again like everything I love about Marvel, they continue to cancel.
Yeah,
and so I see Jerry tweet out like, "Hey, that's my last issue, and he's going to be moving on to a bigger thing," which I'm excited. I love that guy. That guy took Deadpool and wrote it with Brian Posehn for years, and really is the Deadpool go-to guy. And his Guardians is so great.
It is,
and I'm so bummed.
Like I've said before, they're not exactly my Guardians, but I still enjoy the book, especially since Ant-Man's a part of the team now. Richard Rider is back. He's the Nova I've always loved, and it's like, but we're canceling after 150. I even read the last couple issues where the Guardians are a part of the Nova Corps, and it's like been some interesting stuff. And I'm just like, why are you? F you, Marvel.
Yeah,
F you.
Yeah. I again, that's one of the stories of 2017 is the change of the editor in chief. So maybe we're going to see some things from CB.
Are they going to get a new editor in chief after that? news dropped?
I actually don't think we are. I think
they're just
Marvel's
gonna run with
I think Marvel's going to stick with him, one, because Marvel knew about it when he did it,
Yeah.
and supported it. So
Yeah.
I mean,
do?
he impersonated a writer as an Asian person and wrote Asian-based
Japanese comics.
stories under that pseudonym. So for a company really preaching diversity and talking about all the characters they've done and all this, hiring a white guy to pretend
Yeah.
to be an Asian guy
I can't
and
believe- yeah,
write
that was a big
Asian
story
type
a couple weeks
stories is not going to help you.
But I started reading Back to Infinity. I was a little disappointed, especially I was excited for it because it's Hickman.
Yeah.
And but it was kind of lackluster. It goes back to all the Marvel events. Maybe they were doing too many events.
They
but,
are.
You loaned me Planetary. The first. I didn't have Volume 1, but Volume 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one. It was a little hard getting into because I didn't have Volume 1. So
I didn't give you Volume 1 of Planetary?
no,
You got to be in. No.
no, you didn't. You gave me that one that
There's one that's a bunch of different
yeah,
stories.
yeah. You gave me that one, and then so I started off with 2. I didn't mind, I was like, going to read it, but so I was a little lost. So it took me all this time to get through the first, how it's comics. So it took me like 2 months to get through that first one because I was really weird.
Yeah, you can't jump to
So,
2 from that
but
book.
then once I got past that first issue, I tore through that rest of the book within like an hour. And I really liked it. I really digged it. If I ever see John Cassidy at a comic show, I want him to draw me a Chiquita.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I love her.
His art is so fantastic.
Yeah, it is. But I do have a question.
Yeah.
Because I didn't get number 1. What's this whole fourth man thing?
And see, it's been so long since I've read it.
Yeah.
I would do a really terrible job of explaining who the fourth
We'll
man
talk
is.
about it off there then.
Yeah. And now I'm having that. I don't know what the fear is. There should be a name for it when you tell me I don't have the first I didn't give it to you, that I've lost a book that's in my collection. And for collectors who
Right.
go, wait a minute.
What?
Yeah.
That's FOMB if you're missing books.
Yes, then that's what it is, because I'm missing the first volume. Now I have to track that down. I know we've talked about the Secret History of Comic Books, Kirkman's show, just to switch to TV about comics.
That last episode is so fantastic. I watched it 3 times in a 2 days.
was it about?
Milestone.
Milestone.
Okay, so because of that, I brought in something. I got some steel case or steelbook movies, and
Right.
so I'm replacing them and giving you guys some of the movies I have. But I specifically want to make sure you got this. This is Doom. This is the
Yes.
this has the special. This is the special edition one that has the story of Dwayne McDuffie in it. It is the Dwayne McDuffie documentary.
Oh, I want that.
So
Thank you. I
not gonna-
appreciate it.
it is one of my favorite DVD extras I've ever had, and every time I get someone who's slightly a comic book fan, I try to make sure that they watch that, because it is not just it gives, as a white person, it gives me a different perspective, and so he explains what it means to be represented in comics, and he talks about his history, his family and friends, and that being his last project.
No, good.
That episode, and as we all know, I stopped reading comics in the 90s, so I wasn't very big on the whole Milestone thing. But watching, every episode has been pretty good. I still have the beef that, it has Kirkman's name all over it, but he's not in any of the freaking episodes except for the last one, which happens to be about him. But the Kirby Lee one had a lot of stuff that we already knew.
Yeah,
but
I like
it was still fascinating.
The radio interview is probably the most critical piece,
Yes.
and they had that, and that was very important.
The Wonder Woman episode was just fantastic.
Really good.
Yeah, the Superman one was interesting, but I thought the 9/11 episode was boring. I fell asleep like 3 times trying to watch it.
I don't know. It's. I mean,
I understand how it changed comics, but at the same time, that episode was just a slog to try to get through, and I don't even know if I actually finished it. But the Milestone one really hit me.
Yeah.
It hit me, and then I didn't know that Old Boy had died.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they have him in, doing the interviews, and then all of a sudden it does that flip at the end, and I'm like, wait a minute, those were old interviews they were doing.
Yeah.
That hit me.
Yeah,
But
it does, and the documentary on him is tough too because his friends are there, and you could just see the tears welling in their eyes, sharing these incredible stories about Dwayne. And if everyone could go out and submit a little cash to the Dwayne McDuffie Foundation just to keep the awards going and keep the award for diversity in comics up. I know his wife, widow, runs it now. I think it's important for comics. I think, just understanding who Dwayne is and seeing that story on Milestone really is incredible and gives you much more information about comics.
Yeah.
And the people that are in them because they were fans.
Yeah.
I mean, they were kids who wanted to do comics and grew up and did them.
Yeah, that was probably one of the most interesting stories is that, they met when they were 5 years old,
Yeah.
and just had a love of comics and wrote a comic. And then one of them, like most families, one family moves away. He doesn't hear from him for 10, 15 years, and then sees that he's drawing for Batman and hits him up, and they decided to start a freaking comic book company based on black representation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And got some really great artists and creators on board. I've always heard that Christopher Priest was a little prickly, and he came off as very
nice.
Yeah.
Because I'd heard that too. And when they had an interview with him, I was super excited because I've never seen him.
Never. And he was actually cordial and came off very nice. And then Reggie Hunlin, he's always great.
Yeah.
That's just a guy that's excited about life in general, it seems
Yeah.
like. And it was just a very good episode.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see what Kirkman's episode is going to be.
Isn't it the Image focused group?
It's from what I understand, it's going to be focused on The Walking Dead.
Oh, really? That
Yeah.
soon? I mean, this really is. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's not going in like any kind of chronological order, but
It's AMC. Come
it's AMC,
Yeah.
and that's why Kirkman's name's on it,
Yeah.
and that's what people want to see. So we're also talking about a show that's at its lowest ratings point.
Yeah.
when it's still really great, still a great show.
I'm out.
Really?
yeah,
I think I'm the
I
only
bailed.
one here that's still watching it.
Walking
Walking Dead.
I still catch it.
I'm
haven't-
still watching it.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, I thought y'all were already out.
I,
And if
I
it
hate
was-
watching
No,
it, but I'm watching
And if it wasn't for football, I'd probably watch the whole. Because I missed the second half of last season. I haven't watched any of this season.
Yeah.
I'd probably be watching the marathon today if it wasn't for football. But Kirkman did announce this week that he is ending Invincible.
Yes.
So
I'm sad about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've only read like the first 2 volumes of that, and it's great. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really. I hate to say it's like his Spider-Man, but it kind of his
Yeah, it is.
teen hero who kind of evolves and becomes something bigger than himself. What else, Kyle? What are you reading?
Well, I'm going to go defend Marvel for one book.
One?
Defenders.
Yeah, I've heard great things.
Have you not read Defenders?
No.
Really?
I am not adding any more Marvel books until
we talked about this.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, but I thought he had been reading Defenders. I thought he'd
No.
been, okay. If you're going to at least, I know you don't want to give Marvel any money, but if anything, pick up at least Defenders.
I will when they go on sale.
Okay.
So then that actually,
Or even if you go to a comic shop and they have the trade paperback, just pick that. And that book
Yeah.
alone, outside of the rest of Marvel doing what they're doing, I say screw them. But Defenders alone, I think, is just a fun book because, like,
how much longer has Bendis writing it though?
oh, see, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So,
One of the jokes is they're trying. Daredevil's done this whole thing where he's done a Spider-Man and made everybody forget who his identity was.
Yeah.
And one of the issues, Luke Cage is talking to Daredevil when they capture the Punisher, and he goes, "How about Gary? What? I don't know. For some reason you look like a Gary." And then you have Iron Fist and Jessica in a car, and he goes, "Yeah, we're trying to figure out Daredevil's identity." It's like Luke thinks his name is Gary. It looks like a Gary for some reason. It's like
Gary. Well, we want to send out good thoughts to
Yes.
Brian
Yes.
Michael Bendis, who yesterday reported that he had a surprise MRSA infection that grabbed and blinded me for 4 days, and this was the worst week of his life. He really gives a shout out to a lot of friends and family that rushed to his aid.
Yeah.
Worst week of your life. I can't even imagine trying to go through that and being blinded. Hope you get better.
Well, I think at one point he said his like throat was swelled up. Like that's where he said he almost died, and that's where I'm trying to figure out. If you're, going blind's one thing, but how does that almost kill you? And then I guess the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds really horrible, but good luck, Brian. I hope you get to healing a lot quicker.
I assume because it's going to take him several months to get back to.
Yeah, well, he
back to work,
and plus he had the huge weight loss. He said that really helped him bounce back,
Yeah.
which is huge.
I wonder what that does for DC's plans for him, though. Because it pushes it back.
Definitely pushes him back. I doubt he's like gotten full scripts ready
Right.
for him.
Anybody
But
reading?
we're more worried about his health,
and
getting back on his feet.
Anybody reading that Dark Knight's Metal?
No,
heard it's
I've been
great.
catching.
I've heard it's great thing.
Issues here and there.
Okay, so we're a huge Marvel bunch.
Yes.
we don't have a whole lot
But
of DC representation as far as like right now, like with Metal.
Well, no, with the Rebirth stuff, I've been a little more inclined because they basically written out that 52 Superman, his whole thing's gone, and the current pre-52 Superman, his history has now been aligned with that new universe and everything. So a lot of things I liked about pre-52 is now emerging in the current universe, and they're going to be doing that whole crossover with the Watchmen, which I'm not sure about that yet. But I mean, I feel like they're going back to the original DC universe that I loved before they started screwing everything up.
Yeah. So do you approve of DC just like doing New 52? Like they're kind of relaunch every so often, and they kind of just grab what works with them and goes with that. But do you like the constant restarts?
I don't know. Like there are things I like. I'm reading the Green Lantern books. Like I really like Green Lanterns, which is the Jessica and Simon as the Earth Green Lanterns, and I've been reading Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. And right now they're not great, but I'm enjoying the runs they're doing. Flash, I'm not sure yet because they just did where Flash had been affected by the Dark Speed Force, which is what gives Eobard his power.
Yeah,
and they got the other Wally West. And I'm still waiting for them to actually do this. Like they've had Wally, the original Wally West back in the universe, and I think they're dragging. I read both Teen Titans and Titans, and I think they're dragging their feet trying to having him show his identity to Iris. He hasn't even told Iris he's alive, and there's this whole thing where I don't know. There are things I love about it and things I'm just kind of like, go back to what you... I mean, I'm torn because they've introduced certain characters that I hope they keep.
Yeah.
Like the current Superboy, Jonathan Kent, Superman's son. Loves him. And I like his character. I like the team up they're doing of Super Sons with him and Robin, Damian. I think that's a great team up. What I'm mad about is they took out Mon-El. Not Mon-El, I'm sorry, Con-El. The original Connor Kent.
Oh, Connor.
I liked that Superboy. So
I did too.
I hope DC doesn't go the route saying, "Oh, well, we can only have one character named this." It's like Marvel's like, "Hey, we can have two Spider-Man."
Yeah.
You can like right now, Wally is the Flash. Have more than one Superboy, and I don't just you introduce these characters, and then sometimes you want to erase them. It's like don't erase them.
They're important to someone.
Exactly, and that's what I hope they do when they eventually either reboot, fix, or go back to after they have DC's little emergence fight with the Watchmen.
I think it was a Bendis quote. Actually, he said when you're writing a book with like 50 heroes and you have one panel with Tiger, he goes, that Tiger fan wants that panel to be very important. So don't erase your characters.
Exactly. They finally brought back Tim Drake, which I've always been a Tim Drake fan.
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's like I don't know. It's like DC kind of fix your stuff, but don't think you have to erase certain characters because those are important characters to somebody.
For me, I read Green Arrow and Flash when they started. I liked them, but it was like, I'm not going to continue. But now that I have more time to read more books, because I got rid of a bunch of Marvel books, I might pick up Green Arrow again.
It's not bad.
One artist that I've been introduced this year that I'm a huge fan of is Stephen Byrne. And he's drawing Green Arrow, or was drawing. He's drawn a couple of other books, but you might have seen a lot of his stuff kind of floating around because he does a very stylized, digitally looks incredible. The coloring is amazing, and he does pretty much every character. I've seen him do some Star Wars stuff that's amazing. He's done a little animated stuff. He's done a Buffy intro. Incredible guy, maybe one of the new big forces in comics this year.
Right. Kyle, what do you think of the? Did you hear Marvel's doing an animated Secret Warriors movie?
No, actually, I don't think I did.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I mean, the most current animated news I've heard, and I know we sent the trailer to each other yesterday, was the Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse movie that they're doing.
Yeah,
the
that
Miles
looked great.
Morales.
That
that
looked great.
looks hot.
Yeah, I am super excited about that.
Is it Donald
season-
Glover playing?
No.
He's not doing the voice of Miles.
It's a younger dude.
Okay.
I really don't care about the Secret Warriors. I'm more curious about what the news is up with the New Warriors.
Yeah.
I want to know what they're doing with the live-action New Warriors TV series.
Well,
I heard it's still going.
yeah, it's just it doesn't have a place.
Yeah.
So it's in limbo. But the
And-
girl who is doing Squirrel Girl
Is-
on the show she's doing the voice too.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Okay.
It's a great bunch of characters. We got Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
We've got Squirrel Girl. We have oh my god, I don't have it in front of me, and
I
I'm
don't
going
either.
to try to name off each one.
Oh,
but it is
hold on a second. I got it.
it's really aimed at the young kids because it's got a great cast of younger
Spider-Gwen's
heroes.
in there.
Spider-Gwen, the first time we're going to see an animated version of her, right?
I did
Yes.
read about that. Okay.
And
Hold on a second.
yeah, we should have another. Is America in it?
Yes. America
Okay,
Chavez.
Miss America. Yeah.
Here we go. We have Spider-Gwen,
That's going to be interesting.
Inferno
Yeah.
from the Humans. Is he from the Humans?
Yes.
Okay.
Inhumans.
Yeah, he's an E-Man.
Let's see.
So far, the lineup's not too bad.
Okay, so we got Spider-Gwen's going to be called Ghost Spider.
Why?
Quake, Patriot, Inferno, Squirrel Girl, Miss Marvel, America Chavez, Captain Marvel, Lockjaw, and Tippy Toe.
Yeah, it's a squirrel that Squirrel Girl has.
Lockjaw?
Lockjaw, yeah, Inhuman.
Well,
Oh, I know,
yeah.
but he's not. Okay.
Well, they haven't lately in the comics. They've tagged him and Miss Marvel
Really?
together.
Okay. Well, Miss Marvel has a name in it.
Yeah. Exile and Hala the Accuser.
Yeah. Who? I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Hala's a Kree, so I thought she was a villain, but maybe she's the villain for this.
Maybe they do a Teen Titans like story.
Yeah.
She's the Terra.
Yeah.
Lord.
One thing that I think I've really missed out by not reading DC this year has been Mr. Miracle
Yes.
and Batman.
Yes.
Tom King seems to be a force to be reckoned with within the
He is.
DC world because everyone ooh and ahs over every bit of his work. Have y'all read either?
No.
I've read the first issue of Mr. Miracle and it was fantastic.
Really?
Yes.
This month for Comic Book Club, we are doing The Vision, his
That's Tom King.
his 12-issue run, which was an amazing book.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss that meeting, and I'm so bummed by it.
That's why you
because-
got to go out of town.
Is this the series where he creates this artificial
Yeah,
family?
creates an artificial family.
and we get the first look at Viv, who will go into Champions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on, Kyle has thoughts.
No. I have thoughts. I just read the most recent issue, and I'm gonna be interesting to see where they take the Vision after this past week.
All right, no spoilers.
Wait, do you mind? Or, I mean, I could.
Go ahead.
Well, they basically kill Viv. I mean, they kill. He has no family left.
What?
That's some dark shit.
So they had a current, like, it was about 6 issues or 7 team up between the Champions and the current Avengers, which had Falcon and Spider-Man, and they end up fighting the High Evolutionary. Well, in the story, High Evolutionary makes her actual human. At the end of the book, she ends up basically sacrificing herself, and you see the Vision almost go like emotionally pure human. And the last scene is her grave, and both teams standing in front of the grave.
Dude.
Yeah,
Vision has it rough. How many kids has he lost now? Because he lost the Scarlet
Yeah.
Witch kids.
He sure did.
And
he
now,
lost the Scarlet Witch. I mean,
Yeah.
that alone
Yeah.
too.
oh man, he's that character is just
my
in a dark
God.
place.
Anybody watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yes.
First 2 episodes?
I watched the first 2. It's
Interesting.
yeah, and I gotta say, well, if you haven't watched it, I'm sorry, but one small spoiler: Marvel's outside of DC has finally entered time travel.
Oh no,
Yes.
they set rules.
No.
Well,
They're not time
actually-
traveling, but time travel has been introduced. Let's put it that way.
Kang.
No.
No. No. The plot is pretty interesting. The reason why they time travel, and they didn't even know they did time travel. They thought they just did some space travel.
Yeah.
And then one of the twists at the end of the first episode was that they never left Earth. Yeah. So
They're just trying to undo all their plot holes.
well, no.
No.
What happened was they think they're in space because they're like
In a space station, basically.
They're in a space station and it's surrounded by like this asteroid field, and they think they're, that they, because remember the obelisk from season 3?
Yeah.
So they got taken into an obelisk, and they thought they got transported across the galaxy somewhere, but turns out this was a time traveling obelisk, and they never left Earth.
So they're in the future.
So they're in the future, and Earth is fucked up, and now the Kree run it.
Oh man, see,
See?
I hate this because it wants me to bring back to watch a show.
Yeah.
but I just don't think I can. I really hate some of those characters. They're really just. I mean,
know.
Quake,
I tell you
Daisy, whatever you want to call her, is maybe one of. And it's nothing at the actress.
Yeah.
It is the character is really just a shit character.
Yeah, it is.
Bringing back Coulson's kind of a shit idea too, because that kind of nullifies.
Now he's one of the few things. Like he's one of the things actually I enjoy about it.
I'm just really talking about like the storyline.
No, I know.
Like I love Coulson, I love May, I love they're the characters or the actors. I love the characters not that great.
Right.
May was kind of this cool character who was just tough. Like I just wanted to see. And then they had to tell her origin story of why they call her the cavalry. And it was
that
okay.
was kind of
I'd rather don't give me that. Just I want her to constantly just be badass.
Right.
Like don't give me an origin story. This
Right.
isn't Wolverine. I don't care. Just I want to know that she's been just a badass all the time.
Right. I thought Mac was the highlight of the two episodes. He's They did something very interesting because Mac is one of the few black characters on the show, and they made him very self-aware. He's kind of like Cisco. You know how Cisco's the voice of the audience in The Flash? He is the voice of the audience in this show. And so they get transported to this space station, and of course there's like these alien creatures trying to kill everything. And of course he's like a black guy in a horror movie, like a horror movie spoof. He knows he's in a horror movie, so he's like, no, I'm not going there. No, the black guy always gets killed first. Fuck y'all. It is just hilarious, and like he's like that throughout the whole show, and it brings a little lighter touch to it, but it's funny.
Well, that's good because that is not the way that character was early on.
No. He got on my nerves. But he's kind of redeeming himself. I didn't watch Friday night's episode yet, but I watched the first
read
two.
about it. But
So now that they gave him a side eye, you're all in, right?
I don't know if I'm all in. Like I said, and I guess we might get into it later on in just a sec. But I kind of view this whole Fox Disney thing merger as a good thing.
yeah,
I'm not saying that I have comic book fatigue, but I will say that as a whole, we may do ourselves a little bit better if we have fewer comic book movies, but better quality.
Oh yeah, they have to go into different arenas. I mean,
Right.
I think we're going to see that next year with New Mutants.
Yes.
and doing a horror film.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much we're going to talk about in just a second.
Yeah. But I
Just a sec on just a
like
sec.
like I said, I'm kind of out on the CW shows. I did watch the crossover, which was fantastic. It kind of wanted me to drop, but then I turned the page this week, and I just had no inkling to turn it over there. I did watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I kind of want to start watching that, even though I kind of bailed on that halfway through last season.
you're not missing much.
I'm not watching The Walking Dead.
I think you're missing out on Walking Dead. I
course you
honestly,
would.
I think you're missing out on.
But then again, you thought I missed out on Fast 8 too. So
Hey, I fucking love that.
Are you watching The Gifted?
no, I watched.
I watched the first 5, and I need to catch up on it.
Yeah, I'm behind on it. I binged it, and I was like, it's okay for background.
Yeah,
I'm not dedicated to it.
I watched one episode. It may have been episode 5 that I watched, and it was interesting with the episode where he went and saw his dad.
No, see, that's one episode I have. Yeah, the fact that now you were learning that Strucker, his, well, not his in-laws, but his and Uncle were the Fernell or those two mutants that an X-Men 200 tried to.
Yeah, the Fairness.
And apparently they name dropped the Hellfire Club in this TV series too. So they're adding a lot of X-Men lore to the TV series apparently.
Okay, well, yeah, there's a handful of characters that are good that keep me involved, but I feel like they kind of waste Amy Acker a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and we haven't. I mean, honestly, a friend threw it out there. I'd like to see a little more background development with the characters. I think one of the things that the thing suffers from is they have too many characters on the show at a single time that you don't really have enough. You're not getting to make connections to the characters.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I like Polaris.
Yeah,
I like her.
I like Warpath.
Yep.
Blink's freaking eye contacts are distracting.
Very.
It drew me out every time she came on screen.
She was kind of the character I was looking forward to, and
Yeah.
now she's the character I don't really care
Right.
about that much.
Right.
I did take your advice and pick up Thor, Unworthy Thor.
Yes.
Wow.
I told you.
So damn fun.
Told you, son.
That may be one of my favorite reads of this year.
I know. It's
God.
awesome.
And the art is so good.
Is it Ryback on that one? Or Ribic?
Let's see here.
Did he do? I think he did do that.
No, actually, Oliver.
Yes.
How do you say the last name?
God, I can't pronounce it.
Coplier?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But it was
terrible. I got to see Beta Ray Bill show up. I was just excited about what I saw in that, and
like I said,
and they were on sale, so I was like, bye.
So yeah.
Again, me spending money at Marvel.
So the Marvel Insider, they give you I have like all the little Marvel apps and stuff on my iPad, and so me racking up points is easy. And so they have like all these little free digital downloads and stuff, and one of them was free month membership to Comixology, or not Comixology, but Marvel Unlimited.
Marvel Unlimited.
So
another service I've tried twice from them is
Yeah.
total shit.
I read Infinity yesterday, and it wasn't that bad of a read. Or it's not the same as the regular Marvel app, but it was
that's the
wasn't,
problem.
It wasn't horrible.
Okay.
The book was just a little boring, dull. But I did start volume 2 of Aaron's run on Thor: God of Thunder.
Yeah.
Which is I read that first volume and loved it, and it's a continuation of that story, and it's freaking fantastic. Jason Aaron is killing Thor,
And maybe one of the best additions under Alex Alonso
Yes.
during his run, because
Yes.
man, he really is the Thor guy.
Yeah.
And like when you start creating books that
and
are,
Star Wars.
yeah, exactly, that are essential. When you go, oh, who do you want to read when you read Thor? You always say Simonson. You're going to be adding Aaron.
You have to. I
Yeah.
mean, the story is the God Butcher story is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's better than the Unworthy Thor story.
Oh, really?
It's better than the one.
Dude.
Real
It's-
quick, I
yes.
can't remember if we talked about it. Did we talk about Legacies?
We did not.
No.
Did you guys read it?
I'm waiting because they're coming out with a trade paperback next month, or maybe.
They only had the one issue.
I had the one issue. It was.
Oh, I'm talking about Generations. I'm sorry. But I'm thinking Generations. Yeah, like they have so many.
Yeah, it's like so much event stuff to know what's going on.
Yeah.
I hope new editor in chief just cuts that shit out.
Yeah.
Like, dude, let's just establish some stories. Let's just get some guys who are staying on books for a long time doing what they want to do. Free up some stuff.
What I was going to say is, in Legacies, they introduced the original prehistoric Avengers.
Yeah, that's what was cool about it.
That I kind of enjoyed, and then they're just talking about they might be bringing them back, but the final scene is them trying to attack a Celestial.
Yeah.
Shit.
Now, what's great, what I think is
Oh, that's right. Hulk goes crazy on that one. Yeah.
Now, the thing is, who they bring back at the end of the issue. Do you guys know who they brought back from the dead?
No.
Well, let's put it this way: Old Man Logan is no longer the only Wolverine in the universe.
Oh shit.
They brought back a normal our Earth 616 Logan, and he's holding one of the Infinity Gems.
Shit.
Nice.
I love moments like that.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't talked about the trailer dropped for Infinity War. We haven't talked about that.
We got a few minutes.
How many minutes we got left?
We've got about
10.
We've got about 10 minutes.
Let's do that in just a sec, and let's
Okay.
finish out comic talk
Yeah.
because I just want to go through some of the things I really love this year that I want
Yeah.
to see more of. Moon Knight. I love.
Aren't they
that-
canceling that book again?
Again? No, don't. You better give me some citation right now. God damn, don't do that. I get
thought
excited
read-
about
I
something.
thought-
You're
I
like,
thought-
they
I thought-
canceled it.
I thought I read a story that Moon Knight's getting canceled again.
Why not? They cancel everything else.
Yeah, and then just reboot it with the same numbers. I don't know. Okay, before I just start going off on a rant. Oh shit.
One of the things that when I started typing Moon Knight canceled, and of course one of the Google thing is Moon Knight canceled 2017.
Yeah.
Damn.
Jeff Lemire on Twitter. Lots of rumors about Moon. Oh, hold on a second.
Yeah, but he's not writing it.
Lots of rumors about Moon Knight. The book is not being canceled. 14 is our last issue, but that is
Max Bemis is writing it now.
Yeah.
And it's way different than what Jeff was writing. So it's like really great to kind of hit that transition because like they don't seem to really have any boundaries with Moon Knight. So they're kind of like, let's risk it and take it in this direction or that direction. I miss that kind of stuff at Marvel. Like talking about New Mutants and the risk they took by putting Bill Sienkiewicz on that book early on. I miss those risks. I want to see different art and different styles put on books. I want to see more Tom King type stuff, like what Vision was done. I want to see them take risk with their characters. Yeah. I know they're so tied to the movies, but
That's where they need to separate. They
do.
Screw like DC. Stop making everything because it happens in the movies or the TV series have to apply to the comic books. Marvel. Stop making anything that's in the movies had to be in the comic books. We don't need this. They're separate universes. We understand there's a multiverse. Keep them separate.
But if you think about it, the funny thing about it is, hopefully the new editor figures this out. You have a great base with Tim King and Jason Aaron, and as creators.
Tom King.
Tom King, yeah.
But he's DC exclusive now. They lost him over Vision. Yeah. But you got great guys. Like this is another one. David Walker is doing Luke Cage. He did Power Man and Iron Fist. That was another book I loved. And he's doing Luke Cage with a different tone.
Right.
Another guy I'm looking forward to in 2018. Our next episode is going to be heavy on that, but that's a guy I would look out for. He's pretty awesome. I love his books, and he's really passionate about this stuff. If you follow him on Twitter, he is really
David Walker.
Yeah, David F. Walker. But that's been one of the surprises this year is just his fun tone on Power Man and Iron Fist, serious tone on Luke Cage. Again, bummed about Guardians, really disappointed. But Charles Soule has been doing a 25-issue run on Daredevil that finishes in the recent graphic novel release, and he said that these 25 issues he wanted to do like as a novel. And it has been such a great run. New costume, Ron Garney art, 25 issues. Daredevil picks up a sidekick and has one of the most disturbing villains in this run. Probably maybe my favorite book of this year.
Which one is that?
Daredevil.
Daredevil.
Daredevil by Charles Soule. The current.
I heard that was really good.
The current run.
Well, he's back in the red suit now. Like
I think that was the kind of he was doing that for that one run, and then after 25, I think they started to switch up to a new story.
I want to go Amazing Spider-Man because you had it for a while there.
Is it Dan Slott?
I think so.
Okay.
Because you had the whole thing where Peter was like the new Tony Stark, was in charge of this whole company, took over the Baxter Building. Then you had the whole not invasion, but a secret empire bullshit.
Yeah,
and then basically he basically has to drop everything to keep Doc Ock from taking everything over, and now Peter Parker is the most hated person in New York because of everyone losing these jobs and everything. But Spider-Man's one of the most loved people, and so he's spending more time in the costume. He's sleeping on Mockingbird's sofa, and they're kind of in a relationship now. And he's now become the new science editor for the Daily Bugle.
I've heard Dan Slott's run is so fun, and I don't know why I'm not reading it. But that sounds awesome.
No, it is. Yeah, it's like he gets a call from Joe Robinson. He goes, "Yeah, I have your new job. He comes in. He's got his own team." Does all the science stuff, like, oh God, you actually are smart. This whole damn, and it's a fun thing. And he's like, oh my God, look at my, he's back to a human level. He's not rich anymore. And
I like that.
And seeing this whole new relationship with him and Bobby, it's kind of interesting.
That's the one. Actually, when you said that, I was surprised. I really kind of wanted to read that because I like her as a character, and she has the weirdest background.
I know.
If you go into it with her being
and
she's Skrull, not Skrull.
Well, she's been ever since they did. They came back from the Secret Wars, and he was rich, and she was like his SHIELD liaison for Parker Industries, and they knew each other's identity. And for some reason, no offense to 1980s and 90s of the Mockingbird and Hawkeye kind of thing, but I'm digging the Spider-Man Mockingbird kind of team up. I think they make an interesting couple.
Well, she had a short run, and I hate that I'm not going to remember the author's name that did a Mockingbird story. That book was really fun. It was a weird take because it was kind of putting in the middle of an action story and taking a different angle on it. If you want to check that out, that is a great read, the Mockingbird 12-issue run, and I'm gonna look up the author right now, so you guys fill time while I find her name.
Yeah, one of the. Oh, so do you have one?
My favorite book of the year would probably be Thor 700.
Oh, I haven't read it yet, so I can't.
It's awesome.
That's what I've heard.
It is awesome.
A new one I think people should check out. It's on DC, and you don't have to be reading it. It's not a normal DC Universe book, but most people know that DC's been doing Hanna-Barbera comic books.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think the most recent one that has my interest, they're only 2 issues in, but the Jetsons.
I read that first issue, and it was pretty good.
You have a more competent George Jetson.
Yes.
Rosie is no longer just a robot maid. It's George's mother who had her life essence put into a cybernetic body. People on Earth, it's and they always said in the original series that they're living in these like flying cities with the Earth still below them. Well, no, the Earth has gone through almost through an apocalypse where basically the whole Earth is covered by water now, and so what's left of the human race is living in these flying cities over the water. And Jane is some scientist who's trying to figure out. She's on the orbiting space station because there's a meteor coming that they're trying to figure out if it hits Earth again, it could wipe out the whole human race. And so it's like this. It's just this weird kind of.
Yeah, it was very sci-fi.
Yeah,
it was very mature. 22 pages for the first issue. You don't get the whole. If you haven't read it, it starts out with what's his daughter's name? What's his daughter's name?
Oh, Judy.
Judy. So they can't find Judy. Like Judy's turned off her tracker, or actually, they don't want to invade her privacy. Mm-hmm. George and Judy, or not George and Jane don't want to intrude on her privacy and find out where she's at, but they want to know where she's at.
You're talking about the first story.
The very story.
Yeah.
And so, but it turns out she's with her grandmother, and it's very Black Mirror, San Junipero-esque.
Really?
Yeah. So something's going to go on, but you don't know what. And then like the last few pages, they tell her, because they she's going to die, like she's old and feeble and she's going to die, but you don't know what kind of procedure they're going through. And it's like, and she keeps telling you, you're going to get all my memories and blah blah blah, and it's just real weird, very Black Mirror-ish. And then all of a sudden the reveal is, so George finally turns on the tracker, just says screw it, find out she's at his rival company's home office, and ironically his grandmother's there, and he knows that they're doing some kind of experimentation, so he races over there and comes out, the procedure's done, and she's Rosie. They downloaded all of her memories into this robot, to Rosie the robot, and it is so great the way that reveal came out, and the way that it was done. So yeah, I agree with him. That's a great book.
I'm not going to say that all of DC's Hanna-Barbera stuff has been like home runs, but I applaud them for taking a new take on some of this stuff. Like,
maybe
more mature.
Well, it's the risk I keep talking about. Marvel should be doing.
Exactly.
I mean, they've got characters just sitting around that they aren't even doing books
All right,
on.
guys, we got to go ahead and wrap this up. Go ahead and do plugs if you would, please.
All right. You can find us at Facebook on Next Issue Pod. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Next Issue Pod. You can find us on Twitter as what is it? Next Issue Pod. I'm sorry. I'm just like my brain just melted down. It's Next Issue Podcast on Facebook. Next Issue Pod on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Clay_Harrison.
You can find me at Kylepedia.
And you can find me at Adrian_Harry.
Quick shout out. Chelsea Kane is the writer of Mockingbird. Please pick up that 8-issue run. It's a pretty fun run.
And another quick shout out to my friend Jennifer. I loaned her Spider-Man Blue and hopefully turned her into a comic book fan as well.
Oh, update us on the next episode.
Yeah, I will.
Our final episode will be what we're looking forward to in 2018. Hope you all join us then.
This is DallasOnAir.com, a Bacon Samurai production.